On a quiet morning in 2015, a man opened a map. Most people would simply scroll past, but he didn't. He noticed something extraordinary. A tiny strip of unclaimed land nestled between Croatia and Serbia. Just 7 square kilometers of forgotten territory. No flag flew there. No government claimed it. No nation owned it. It existed in a legal grey zone, waiting. Without hesitation, he got in his car and drove there. He crossed the border, planted a flag, and declared himself president of a brand new country. He called it Liberland. Within weeks, 500,000 people from around the world applied to become citizens of this impossible nation. This is the story of Liberland, the country that shouldn't exist, but somehow it does.
It started with a border dispute. Croatia and Serbia had been arguing for decades about where their border was. The Danube River runs between them. But rivers move over time. Both countries use different maps, different years, different measurements. And in the confusion, a tiny strip of land fell through the cracks. Neither country claimed it, because claiming it meant giving up something more valuable elsewhere. So it just sat there, unclaimed, unnamed, unwanted. Until Vít Jedlička found it, a Czech politician with a big idea and absolutely nothing to lose. He studied the maps for months. He checked the legal documents. He consulted lawyers, and they all said the same thing. This land belongs to nobody.
Most people, when they discover a legal loophole this big, they call their lawyer. Vít Jedlička called a press conference. On April 13, 2015, he drove to the strip of land on the western bank of the Danube. He stepped out of his car, pulled out a yellow and black flag, and planted it in the ground. I hereby declare the Free Republic of Liberland. His motto, live and let live. No income tax, no mandatory military service, no income tax. Complete personal freedom. A libertarian dream on 7 square kilometers of riverbank. The world laughed at first, but Liberland still stands today. Today, his Liberland was followed to the Liberland. He said, it felt that from someone who never, just the...
Then something unexpected happened. People started applying for citizenship. Not hundreds, not thousands. 500,000 people. 500,000 human beings sent applications to a country with no buildings, no roads, no electricity, no running water. Just a flag and a dream. Applications came from the United States, from Germany, from India, from Brazil. People were desperate for something different, a place with no bureaucracy, no corruption, no endless paperwork, just freedom. Jedlička was overwhelmed. He hadn't expected this. Nobody had. But before any of those 500,000 people could pack their bags, Croatia had other ideas.
From the very beginning, Liberland faced an impossible reality. Croatia didn't recognize the new nation. Neither did Serbia. Neither did any country on earth. But for Croatia, recognition was never the real issue. Their main concern was far more practical, preventing anyone from actually reaching this claimed territory. Within days of the declaration, Croatian authorities mobilized. Police patrols set up along the border. Boats cruised the river. Officers stood watch on the banks. Anyone attempting to enter Liberland faced immediate turnback or arrest. The founder himself, Jedlička, was detained repeatedly, unable to reach what he claimed as his own nation. Imagine this: the president of a country arrested every single time he tries to return home. Yet he never stopped trying. Again and again, through every obstacle and detention, he attempted to reach his people. Because surrendering was simply not in his nature. Giving up was never part of the plan.
From the outside, it looked absurd. A country you couldn't enter, a president who kept getting arrested, 500,000 citizens with nowhere to go. But Jedlička kept building. Liberland got a constitution, a detailed, carefully written document guaranteeing individual rights, limited government, and economic freedom. It got a cryptocurrency, the Liberland Merit, LLM. It got a diplomatic corps, people representing Liberland in countries around the world. It got a website, a government structure, an e-residency program, all without a single permanent building on its actual territory. Liberland existed everywhere, except where it was supposed to. And then, something changed.
Years passed. The blockade continued, but the world started paying attention. BBC, CNN, The Guardian, Al Jazeera. Jedlička gave speeches at universities, tech conferences, and libertarian gatherings across the globe. He met with politicians, investors, and visionaries who believed in the impossible. Slowly, what once seemed absurd started feeling real. In 2022, Liberland announced a bold new plan. A floating city on the Danube, designed by architects, funded by crypto investors. Dozens of projects, millions of dollars. The country that didn't exist was now attracting real money, real people, real buildings. Not on the territory. Not yet. But they were getting close, and slowly, the impossible started feeling possible. Then came the momentum. 500,000 citizenship applications, investment announcements, a libertarian utopia declared on 7 square kilometers of marshland between Croatia and Serbia. Liberland had arrived. But the complications mounted just as quickly. Croatia blockades the only access. The floating city remains a plan, not reality. 500,000 applicants, none of whom can set foot there. And yet, Vít Jedlička keeps pushing forward. Still getting detained at the border. Still filing legal challenges. Still giving interviews. Still believing. Is he a visionary or a dreamer who got in over his head? Perhaps the better question is, does it matter? Every country that exists today was once considered impossible. Someone, somewhere, drew a line, planted a flag, and said, "This is mine."
Liberland forces us to ask a question we rarely think about. What actually makes a country real? Is it recognition from other nations? Then Kosovo isn't real. Neither is Taiwan. Neither is Palestine. Is it a constitution? Liberland has one. Is it citizens? Liberland has 500,000 applicants and growing e-residents. Is it territory? Liberland has 7 square kilometers that legally belong to nobody else. By most definitions, Liberland checks the boxes. The only thing it's missing is the world's permission. And the world has been wrong before. America was once a collection of colonies that declared independence and dared the world to stop them. Israel was declared in 1948 by people who had nowhere else to go. Bangladesh broke away from Pakistan in 1971 against impossible odds. Every new country started as an idea that most people thought.
So where does Liberland stand today? It exists, officially, legally, internationally. It has a government that functions, a currency that trades, citizens who believe in it. What it doesn't have is a place to call home. Yet. Vít Jedlička is still out there, still fighting, still getting detained, still planting flags. And somewhere on the western bank of the Danube River, 7 square kilometers of land sit quietly, waiting for a country to catch up with the idea that created it. Maybe it never will. Or maybe, one day, you'll open your phone and read a headline that says, Liberland officially recognized as the world's newest nation. And you'll remember that it started with one man, one map, one flag, and absolutely zero permission from anyone.